The low growl of an engine being dragged across asphalt pierced the otherwise quiet evening in Asheville, North Carolina. Marcus Reed, a 40-year-old black mechanic with a calm demeanor and hands seasoned by war and work, looked up from under the hood of an old Chevy. It was past closing time. He was already late getting home, but something about the expensive silhouette of the car being towed in made him pause. A Bentley Continental. The tow truck driver hopped out, looking sheepish. "Sorry, Marcus, this one's not scheduled. Guy insisted I bring it here." Marcus wiped his hands and approached. The car was immaculate on the outside, but it was clearly dead. Behind the wheel, a sharply dressed white man in an immaculate wool coat and Italian loafers sat, visibly frustrated, tapping rapidly on his phone. "Evening," Marcus offered. "Car just stopped." The man barely looked up. "Engine died on I-26. Dashboard lit up like a Christmas tree. I'm in a rush." Marcus nodded calmly. "I'll take a look. You got a few minutes?" With a grunt of annoyance, the man stepped out. "Make it fast." Within moments, Marcus had the hood open and his flashlight pointed in. His practiced eye moved from fuse box to sensor leads. It didn't take long. Fuse blew. Tripped a sensor. "That's all." "That's all?" the man asked, eyebrows raised. Marcus swapped out the faulty part with a spare from the shelf. A small click. The engine roared to life. Smooth, low purr, like a lion deciding not to strike. "All good now," Marcus said, stepping back. "Shouldn't give you more trouble." The man glanced at the dashboard, then at Marcus. His phone buzzed, but he ignored it for the first time since arriving. "How much?" Marcus smiled faintly. "Don't worry about it. Wasn't serious work." There was a pause. The man looked at Marcus like he didn't quite understand the words. "You're not charging me for this?" Marcus shrugged. "Wouldn't feel right? Just a fuse." The man hesitated, then extended his hand. "I'm Daniel. Thanks." Marcus shook it. "Marcus Reed. Take care out there." Daniel climbed back into the Bentley, the leather creaking under him. For a moment, he looked back at the garage, the weathered sign, the old veteran license plate stacked near the wall, and one plate in particular that caught his eye. SGT Reed, 82nd Airborne. The car disappeared into the night. Marcus returned to the Chevy, unaware that everything in his life had just changed. The next morning. It was barely 9 when Marcus heard the rumble of black SUVs outside his shop. No plates, tinted windows. A chill ran down his spine. From the first vehicle stepped 2 men in black suits. From the second emerged a man with an earpiece and a leather portfolio. He was dressed like someone used to sitting in corner offices and speaking in terms of millions. "You Marcus Reed?" the assistant asked. Marcus nodded cautiously. "Yeah, who's asking?" The assistant opened the portfolio. Inside was an embossed seal, Barrington Holdings. The man smiled politely. "Mr. Barrington would like a word." "Who?" "Daniel Barrington III. Marcus blinked. "The guy with the Bentley?" "The same." Before Marcus could respond, the assistant added, "He saw something in your shop. A license plate. SGT Reed, 82nd Airborne." That struck a chord. Marcus's face darkened slightly. "I don't talk about that." "I understand, but he insists. Would you agree to meet him?" "No press, no charity, no stories." "That's not my thing." The assistant gave a small nod. Mr. Barrington expected that. He's waiting around the corner, no cameras, no entourage. Just him. The diner. The bell above the door jingled as Marcus walked into the small diner next to his garage. At the far booth sat Daniel Barrington, alone, his coat folded beside him. He stood as Marcus approached. "I appreciate you coming." Marcus stayed standing. "You said this was important." "It is." Daniel gestured for him to sit. After a long pause, Marcus did. A waitress refilled both coffees and moved on. Daniel reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small photo. It was worn at the edges. Two young men in dusty uniforms laughing under a tattered American flag. "That's my brother, Matthew, Sergeant Matthew Barrington, 82nd Airborne. He didn't make it back from Afghanistan." Marcus stared at the photo. His face softened, just a fraction. "I knew him," he said quietly. "He was in my unit. Good man." Daniel nodded, clearly holding something back. "When I saw your plate, I couldn't believe it. Took me all night to dig through the footage. I don't usually look twice at who fixes my car. But," he paused, "what you did yesterday? Fixing my car? Refusing payment? I couldn't stop thinking about it. You didn't know who I was, and you didn't care." "I don't fix people's cars for who they are," Marcus said. "I fix what's broken, that's all." "No," Daniel said, "that's not all." He leaned in. "You're not just a mechanic. You're a man of honor. You saw something broken and did the right thing, not because of status or money or credit, but because that's who you are. I wanted to thank you, but more than that, I want to do something meaningful." Marcus stiffened. "This sounds like charity." Daniel shook his head. "It's not. It's recognition. It's opportunity. You gave something without asking. I want to give something back." Marcus stood up. "You don't owe me anything." "I know," Daniel said, standing too. "But I owe him, my brother. And I think he'd want me to help you carry forward what he believed in." Their eyes met, and in that quiet moment, between the clatter of coffee cups and the soft sound of an old jukebox in the corner, something unspoken passed between two very different men bound by war, loss, and decency. Marcus picked up his jacket. "Then don't do it for me. Do it for them, the ones who came back broken, the ones who still need fixing." Daniel nodded. "I will." The next morning, Marcus was back under a car, wrench in hand, oil on his forearm, country blues playing softly from an old radio. The calm of routine had returned, or at least that's what he told himself. But something had changed. Customers came and went, but a low tension lingered in the air, like static before a storm. At 11:23 a.m., a black town car parked across the street. Marcus noticed it, but didn't stop working. By noon, a reporter showed up. "Mr. Reed?" she asked, clipboard and microphone in hand. "We heard about what happened with Daniel Barrington's Bentley. Would you mind a quick interview?" He barely looked up. "You've been misinformed. I fixed a fuse, that's it." "Sure," she smiled. "But he wrote a column this morning. It's going viral. Called you an American hero in coveralls. People want to know your story." Marcus set his wrench down carefully, wiped his hands, and stepped closer. "You want my story? 82nd Airborne. 2 tours, 1 Purple Heart. Came back. Lost half my friends. Got a shop. Been fixing engines and mines ever since. That good enough?" She blinked. "Very. Do you mind if I—" "I mind. Marcus said, already turning back to his car. He wasn't interested in attention. Not from cameras, not from social media, and definitely not from billionaires with good intentions and too much reach. But by 4 p.m., things had escalated. 2 large crates were delivered by a logistics company. No note, no sender, just a barcode and a clipboard to sign. Marcus refused. "I didn't order anything." "It's from Barrington Holdings," the delivery man said. "We're just doing our job." Marcus opened one crate. Inside was a Snap-on Master Tool kit, the kind only elite race teams used. Retail price, over $30,000. He shook his head and slammed the lid shut. By the end of the day, 3 more boxes arrived. Hydraulic lifts, a new diagnostic machine, even a refurbished coffee machine with a note taped to the side. "For the soldiers still fixing things. DB." Marcus paced in front of his shop long after sunset. The metal of the garage doors still radiated heat from the North Carolina sun, but all he felt was the cold grip of discomfort. The attention was spreading. Local news ran a segment. Veterans from all over the county showed up to shake his hand. A former sergeant from Fayetteville dropped off a 6-pack and said, "You reminded folks who we are." And then came the call he couldn't ignore. Daniel Barrington sat at the back of a modest VFW hall. No blazer this time, just jeans, rolled sleeves, and a folder under one arm. Marcus reluctantly walked in, eyeing him like someone sizing up an opponent, not a partner. Daniel stood. "You came?" "I told you I don't want charity." "This isn't charity. This is a mission." He opened the folder. Inside was a proposal, a full outline of a veteran training program, automotive technology, welding, diagnostics. "Rebuild Brotherhood," it said on the cover. "I want to set up a foundation," Daniel said. "You'll run it. I'll fund it. And together we'll train veterans who came home to nothing." Marcus stared at the folder. His jaw clenched. "You think I got time to play hero?" "No," Daniel said quietly. "But you are one, whether you want to be or not." That silence returned, the one that stretched between men with war behind their eyes. "You really saw his plate, didn't you?" Marcus finally asked. "I did," Daniel replied. "SGT Reed, 82nd Airborne. That wasn't just a license plate. That was a legacy. My brother's, yours. I lost men over there. I came back, but I never came back." Daniel nodded. "Then help the next ones make it all the way home." A week later, everything changed. Daniel quietly purchased the lot that Marcus's shop sat on. Not to develop it, not to flip it. He transferred the deed directly to Marcus. "Bonds forged in war deserve more than thank you letters," Daniel said. "They deserve foundations." Marcus didn't say much, but the slight tremble in his hand as he held the deed spoke volumes. Together, they began transforming the shop. Word spread fast, not through media this time, but through word of mouth. Veterans from Alabama to Virginia drove in, curious. Some just sat outside, staring at the garage before walking in. One of the first to arrive was Lisa H., a former Air Force mechanic who'd been living in her truck. She was in uniform the next day, training a class of 3. By the end of the month, Rebuild Brotherhood had 15 enrolled veterans, 4 working lifts, and a rotation of instructors. Marcus taught every day, his old drill sergeant bark breaking through at times, but his mentorship carried something deeper, an understanding. One day, While Marcus was replacing a carburetor with a young vet from Chicago, a local high school kid wandered into the garage. Skinny, awkward, maybe 15, wore his pants too low and his hope even lower. "Hey," the teen said, "You the billionaire?" Marcus looked up, covered in grease and sweat. He raised an eyebrow. "You see a gold watch?" "No, I mean, everyone says this place belongs to some rich guy now." Marcus chuckled. "Nah, it belongs to the people who need it. But you run it." "I fix things." The kid hesitated, toeing the floor. "You hiring?" Marcus squinted. "You know anything about cars?" "Nope." "You willing to learn?" The kid nodded. Marcus tossed him a rag. "Then wipe your hands. First lesson. We don't touch tools with dirty fingers." The boy smiled for the first time all week. As Marcus looked around the garage that evening, veterans teaching other veterans, teenagers sweeping the floor, engines roaring with purpose, he realized something. This wasn't a garage anymore. It was a second chance, a healing ground, a place where broken things and people got rebuilt. And somewhere in the back, behind all the noise and dust, hung that old license plate, SGT Reed, 82nd Airborne. Not a decoration, a reminder. The garage buzzed with the rhythm of rebirth, tools clanking, compressed air hissing, the low hum of conversation among veterans learning to fix more than just engines. Marcus Reed moved through it all like an anchor, steady, quiet, purposeful. Every corner of the once crumbling workshop now breathed life. Veterans who had come home lost were finding not just work, but a reason to wake up again. Word had spread far beyond Asheville. Stories circulated on forums and social media about a place where people didn't just learn to repair engines, they found a kind of dignity that had gone missing since the day they turned in their uniforms. Barrington Holdings stayed quietly in the background. Daniel kept his promise not to make it about him. No press tours, no ribbon cuttings, just monthly checks, logistical support, and the occasional visit in worn jeans and rolled-up sleeves. He sat in on classes sometimes. Other times, he'd just listen. Once, Marcus caught him helping a student take apart an alternator. "You're not bad for a guy with soft hands," Marcus joked. "I used to race classic cars before I raced corporate ones," Daniel replied, grinning. "Sometimes I still miss the smell of oil more than the smell of money." It had been almost 6 months since that night with the Bentley. The viral headlines had come and gone. The column Daniel wrote, "In America, some heroes wear grease, not medals," had inspired a wave of donations, most of which Marcus had directed toward expanding the program. They were now preparing to open a second site in Charlotte. Marcus was skeptical about growing too fast, but Daniel's quiet reassurance always grounded him. "We're not building a franchise. We're building a legacy." One Saturday afternoon, the sun soaked the pavement outside the shop in a golden haze. Marcus stood just outside the garage, sipping black coffee from a chipped mug. The veteran license plate, SGT Reed, still hung above the main bay. He looked up at it often, not out of pride, but remembrance. That day, a teenager from down the street wandered in. He was maybe 14, maybe younger, shirt too big, sneakers taped at the soles, eyes scanning everything with a mix of suspicion and awe. "You lost?" Marcus asked. The kid shook his head. "No, sir. Just looking." "Looking for what?" "I don't know," the kid muttered. Place to be, I guess. Marcus gestured toward a workbench. You know how to turn a wrench? No? Good. Easier to teach you right the first time. The boy approached cautiously, his eyes taking in the veterans hunched over open hoods, the whiteboards covered in torque specs, the smell of oil and solder and hope. He ran a finger along the edge of the workbench, then looked up at Marcus. Are you, like, a billionaire or something? Marcus burst into laughter, not mocking, just surprised. Me? Nah, kid, I'm just a man who fixed the right thing at the right time. The kid blinked, confused. Marcus leaned in, wiping grease off his hands. Sometimes you don't gotta be rich to change the world. You just gotta stop when someone's stuck, figure out what's broken, and fix it, no matter who they are. The boy nodded slowly, as if committing it to memory. Then he grabbed a rag without being asked and began wiping down the nearby table. Marcus didn't say a word. He just watched. That night, after everyone else had gone, Marcus stayed late, as he always did. He checked the locks, shut the lifts, turned off the lights, one by one. In the quiet, he stood alone in the garage and looked up at that plate once more. It wasn't just his anymore. It belonged to every soul who had walked through those doors in pieces and left a little more whole. Outside, the town was quiet. The shop, once invisible, now glowed with quiet purpose. Heroes didn't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they wore coveralls and carried coffee-stained mugs, and sometimes fixing a fuse turned into fixing a future. Marcus Reed never asked to be seen, but America saw him anyway.